Ready?
You sure?
Are you ready, Patrick? I'm ready, SpongeBob.
You're live.
Oh, great. Are you ready to party? I'm ready to party. It's Friday. We made it. Another week. Friday. Here we are. 48 Carrington cooking again today. As promised, I'm going to bring you our teriyaki sauce stir-fry recipe from the Old Rainbow Gardens restaurant. And I'm going to talk a little bit about brown rice. I'm going to show you how to prep the vegetables ahead of time, so you could go ahead and do that this afternoon, and then tonight just throw this together. The teriyaki sauce that we're going to make, I'm going to put that recipe up on our YouTube channel. That's John & Heather Perfetto. You got to go over there to check out the other videos. Give us some thumbs up, some likes, and some subscribes. That's how we get noticed by the folks over there in Silicon Valley. All right, so I'm making the stir fry out of what I have. It's going to be vegetarian for us today, but you could put chicken, flank steak, tofu, shrimp, tempeh, or just leave it vegetable. Chickpeas, if you want to up your protein, you could put anything into this. So it's just the technique of blanching the vegetables that we're going to do today and making the stir fry and the sauce. And then I have something really special for you at the end, but I'm not going to share that surprise yet. So I'm going to start by, I'm going to do one thing here before you come over. This is just sesame oil, and this is going to be 2 tablespoons of sesame oil in this pretty heavy bottom pot here, because we don't want it to stick and burn. And then I'm gonna take this ginger that I have. This is the end of my ginger, so ideally it's like a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons. And this garlic, and this is a little mortar and pestle someone gave me. Look, I never used it. So now we're gonna break this puppy out and see what this does. I don't know, I don't love this thing. I'm gonna go the old-fashioned way. All right, well that was a waste. Sometimes those gadgets promise more than they deliver when you can actually make this by hand. All right, so this is going to be finely diced, 2 cloves of garlic, and I don't know, maybe a ½ inch of ginger. So like about a tablespoon of each is what we want. And the oil's heating up behind me in that thick bottom pot. Are we straight today? Or are we upside down? Apparently we were upside down yesterday, so I apologize if we made any
Yeah, my friend Randy, who said we were upside down, just came on to say hi, checking up on me.
Oh, great. All right, so this
How you doing, brother?
This is going to go into a hot pot back here. And then once that sautés a little bit, I'm going to be adding about 1 1/4 cups of water. Look how quickly I have that measured. Same amount of soy sauce. About a cup of pineapple juice. This is actually the frozen pineapple that I had. I pureed it and I added water to it because I didn't have pineapple juice. A 1/4 cup of brown sugar. You can go with this or not go with this. It's your choice. You could use a sugar substitute. This is our recipe. This is how we made it. And a 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce. Now I went back over the original recipe this morning, and apparently my chefs haven't been making this with this barbecue sauce, because I don't remember seeing anybody put that barbecue sauce in our teriyaki when we were making it at work. And now we would make this by 5-gallon buckets. This was like one of our #1 sellers. We had this with salmon, steak, shrimp, chicken by itself, over noodles, over brown rice. So this is going to come to a boil, and then I'm going to thicken it with equal portions of, cornstarch and water, which you make that slurry that I made with flour before, but this one's going to be clear cornstarch because it's going to make the teriyaki sauce come out clear. So I'm going to let that come up to a boil before I thicken it. So I'm just going to go back over here and do some of the veg. Let me just show you back here. I have in the pot this brown rice. Oh, perfect. That was perfect timing. Brown rice, people are afraid of making brown rice. They think that it's tricky. You could read the directions on the bag. This is the bag of brown rice that I happen to get over at Aldi's. It says quick cook brown rice. I don't know what that means, but it did cook pretty quickly. And the proportion is right on the back of the bag. I do use 2 to 1, but I also put in a tablespoon of butter. So it was 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water, and a tablespoon of butter. And I put a lid on it, brought it to a boil. And now that it's almost completely evaporated, this is where people mess up and they burn it. When most of the liquid is evaporated off of it and it's hot, you want to just turn it off and let it sit there to finish cooking. And that way you won't burn it and it won't be raw. And then you're going to have to season it a little bit afterwards because it's not seasoned. Oh, this might come to a boil for us here. All right, there we go. Wait, turn the lights on. Cooking in the dark. So this teriyaki sauce came up pretty quickly to a boil here. I thought I was going to be waiting a while. All right. And you just take your cornstarch and you pour it in. It's going to look cloudy at first, but as soon as that comes back to a boil and cooks out, it won't be cloudy. Now, if it's too thick, mine appears to be a little bit thick, you could just go ahead and add some more water. So I'm going to borrow from this hot water that I have going over here. It's probably because it wasn't pineapple juice, it was pineapple puree that I used in that. Now this will last in your refrigerator for about a week. So this is a lot of stir fry sauce. You could put this in a mason jar with a lid on it. Once it cools, let it cool down. So we're going to let it come back to a boil because it's going to cook off that starchiness in it. But you can see it's got a nice consistency. And so I'm going to show you how to prep the vegetables, and then we're just going to pour the sauce into the stir fry veg and put it over brown rice. But I think I'm going to hold off on that today because that's going to be, Logan wants to have that later on today. So let's go back to prepping the veg for the stir fry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a blanching technique, and that requires boiling water. Let me just set this burner's quicker. So you just bring a good amount of water to boil. Leave some what I call head space up top here, because when you put the veg in, you're going to displace the water and you don't want it going all over the place. So stir fry veg are traditionally thin cut because they cook quickly, but we do this thing where we pre-blanch the veg because that means you can get the prep done and then you're ready to go tonight, and we were always ready to go. So this, I just cut the carrots on an angle like I did the other day, and now I'm cutting them into what's called fine julienne strips. And if Jaden were here, he could tell you about his practical at school where these julienne strips had to be exactly measured perfect to get the proper letter grade up at the Culinary Institute. And I remember those days agonizing over my knife cuts as well. There's about, 8 or 10 major culinary knife cuts that you have to learn up there, and julienne is one of them. But in the real world, our carrots don't come in perfect squares. In the Culinary Institute of America world, they just took all the wasted trim and made stocks out of it in another kitchen. So they cut blocks of potatoes and cut blocks of carrots to get perfect julienne, but we have to use what we have here. Now, here's another tip, is that with the vegetables that I have selected here today, and the only reason I selected these is because this is what we had, the carrots are going to take a little longer to blanch than the other vegetables, so that's why I did them first, and they're going to go into this boiling salted water back here. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is prep all the rest of these veg to get added. Now, asparagus has this thing in nature where it will tell you where it needs to be broken. You don't want to eat this gnarly end of the asparagus. It's very tough and very bitter. So you just break the ends off it. Now you could either A, put that in stock, B, put that in compost, or C, my chickens love asparagus stems, so they are going to get asparagus stems this afternoon when we go out to get the eggs. And then I'm just going to cut these on an angle in about, what is that, half quarter inch to a half inch pieces, and put them in this bowl. You could use zucchini, you could use yellow squash, you could use peppers, you could use cauliflower. This is what I had. So I'm just going to use the broccoli florets, and you can either peel them apart like I'm doing here, right in here with the asparagus, or if you want to be very precise, you could go back here and cut them all, but I just find it easier to just rip them. Sometimes you don't need perfect knife skills, you can use your hands. And then this you could either save to make broccoli soup with, but the chickens love this too, so we're going to give them this today because they deserve a treat. They've been producing eggs for us out there. Now these are snap peas, not snow peas. Snow peas you would be able to just put right into your stir fry when you're cooking it, but snap peas have a little bit harder edge to them. These are pre-strung, so thank God somebody sat somewhere and did this. But they have this little string on them that if they weren't done, you have to remove that. And guess what? The chickens like that too, but it has a little peel that comes off it. You can also, probably not with this knife, with the paring knife, go down and get this. But that's really fussy cooking. I don't bother with it. Now these guys you can either keep whole or cut in half. I'm just, for the sake of trying to make all my vegetables the same size, I'm going to cut these in half. And these are going to go into this bowl too. Now the carrots have cooked a little bit ahead of these vegetables because, carrots are a little tougher. But these guys are going to go right in here, and it's basically going to come up to a boil. This is called blanching your vegetables. All right, you're cooking them to tender, but we're gonna preserve the color of them by dipping them in a shocking ice bath, and that's going to stop the cooking so that we don't get the army green vegetables. We're gonna keep this nice bright vegetable mix. I wish I had a red pepper. That would have been great to go in there. So basically, this is gonna come back to boil. I'm not cooking them all the way right now because we're gonna do something else with them. We're gonna stir fry. We're gonna stir fry next. So I'm just gonna go in and scoop them out and put them right into this ice bath. It's just ice cubes right out of the freezer. Nothing fancy here. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna stop the cooking and it's gonna keep these vegetables nice and bright. Now the water that I have reserved here, I'm going to just keep making stock out of, or broccoli soup or asparagus soup, because that asparagus that we have kind of went a little quick, so I'm probably going to make cream of asparagus soup for the weekend for us. Yeah, who's going to do that? Me. There's another tool called a spider for getting the vegetables out of here quicker, but I don't have that, so I'm going to deal with this slotted spoon. You could also pour this down the sink in a strainer, but why would you want to waste all the flavor and vitamins that are in this? You know, you're halfway to vegetable stock here. All right, so I'm just going to mix it up in here, and then the ice will melt, and eventually what you're going to do is you're going to just strain that off. Go to the sink and strain the ice water off of it. But this is going to stop the cooking of your vegetables, and it's going to keep them nice and bright like that. Let's do a swapperoo here. Get this guy hot. I have this little wok. I'm gonna give it a shot with this. I've never used this in my kitchen, but I'm gonna give it a try for this stir fry. And I guess how am I gonna get the ice out of there? I'm gonna pick the ice out of there and I'm gonna throw it in this hot water. Do not do this at home. This is a professional chef technique. Sometimes you gotta deal with what you got. All right, so to go and make the stir fry now, I'm going to heat this wok up, and I'm going to use sesame oil. If I had more ginger and garlic, I would put a little bit of ginger and garlic in there next, but I have this onion. I'm going to go back here. I didn't blanch the onion because I want to get the caramelization of the onion from the wok. So just a little bit of onion. You decide how much, how little. You could use red, you could use white, you could use yellow, Spanish. You don't have to use this if you don't like this. This would also be a good time to put the, disappear a little bit, a good time to put mushrooms in if you had mushrooms and if you like mushrooms. Mushrooms not very popular in this house. So we're going to cook these here most of the way. And again, if you had garlic, more garlic and ginger, this would be a good place to put garlic and ginger, but not to worry about that because we have it back here. So see how quickly that thin bottom wok stir fry. This is stir fry. It's moving around fast. Some argue that stir fry and saute are the same thing. I don't know. Stir fry is more associated with Asian cooking, and saute is more associated with French cooking. But basically, it's little amounts of water, hot oil, and thin pieces of vegetable. So I'm going to go back and grab my vegetables. Oh, but I wanted to say too about these vegetables is if you want to stop here and not make them teriyaki flavored, you could just take them and put some melted butter and fresh herbs on them and then have a steamed vegetable. And you could steam a whole bunch of vegetables like this ahead of time and have them to put on your salads, to put in pasta. This mix would go in pasta as well too. Or if you were doing like meal prep, you could put it with grilled vegetables and brown rice for your lunch. So we're just gonna get the broccoli tossed around there. Red pepper flakes would be great in this right now. I have them over here. You know, I'm not gonna put salt in this because I have the soy sauce back there. Alright, so I'm going to go and dip into this beautiful sauce that we made and pour it over these veg. And this is going to reduce a little bit. And now here's where you would put your cooked protein in. So if you had grilled chicken or grilled flank steak, or you could put tofu in here raw, tofu and tempeh. You could put cooked shrimp, you could boil your shrimp. You could probably have put the shrimp in raw with the onions if you wanted to do it that way, but I just like to get everything prepped ahead of time so that now when dinner time comes, it's not that hard to put everything together there. So we're going to go back here to the brown rice, which ideally would have been done in that time that I had that lid on it. Yeah, it's pretty done. So here we just put a little bit of brown rice in the middle. All right, and then turn this off. And I'm just gonna pour it over it. So you can see it. Pour that right into your bowl. Sesame seeds would be good on top of this right now. Don't have them, not using them, but there's your beautiful stir fry, and you could make it any flavor you want. Broccoli. Delish. Delicious. Okay, it is Friday. Friday, yes, we made it through another week, and it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So my surprise for you is we are going to make a cocktail. Woo! All right, we're gonna make it over here. So what I have is a shaker. The only reason I'm making this is because this is what I had in the liquor cabinet. So I just put some ice in the shaker, and we're gonna go in with, and I'll give you guys this recipe too. We're gonna go in with 1.5 ounces of this Silver Tequila or Blanco, white tequila. And the only reason I'm using this is because it was left over in the bar and we had it. I'm also going to put a couple sprigs of mint from outside in the garden in here. And I'm going to put 1 ounce of this Loco, where is it? Loco nut, Captain Morgan Loco nut. It's like a creamy coconut rum, really delicious. It comes in that really cool bottle that looks like a coconut. And then I'm going to put this pureed pineapple juice in here, about a cup of pineapple juice. And put the top on the shaker, and this is where it gets fun. You're going to shake this till the cows come home. No, you're going to shake this to distribute the ingredients and break up the ice that's inside it, chill down the liquors, get a workout, take out your aggressions. Maybe you've been cooped up in your house with your husband for too long. He's videotaping you upside down. Just kidding, John. And then take this off. This is not a professional shaker. This is a homemade handy-dandy shaker. I'm going to pour it into this glass. Because I have it, because I can, right like that. I'm going to garnish it with this mint from out back, which I've washed. And I'm going to drink at 2:19. Cheers to all my friends out there. John, what do you got?
All right. Today, let me get to my computer here.
The straw's not working. It's not going down fast enough.
Today, we're going to talk about Fratelli's over on New Haven Ave.
Our neighbors.
They're right down the street from us. Great guys. Elvis and his brother. I can't remember his brother's name. He's going to kill me.
Ouch.
And the dad.
Cousin. They're cousins and fun.
I don't know, but...
Family.
A family-run restaurant. Used to be Nello's. These guys have done an incredible job renovating the building. Great Italian food. Doing curbside pickup and takeout. And it's a great choice for Friday night. So give them a shot.
All right. It's the weekend. We're going to take Saturday and Sunday off just because I didn't want to work nights and weekends anymore. And with this, we've been working weekends too. So I'm going to take the weekend off, and I'm going to come back on Monday, and I'm going to give you sometime next week, by request, potato pancakes. So I got to figure out what I can make with that. And other than that, cheers. I am going to drink this whole thing until we eat again.